On Instagram, I looked like I had it all figured out. Every photo told the story I wanted people to believe. Motivational quotes in clean fonts, selfies with coffee mugs and MacBooks, beach sunsets with captions like grinding now, winning later. I posted about hashtag hustle, hashtag boss life, and hashtag freedom. And people believed it. They liked, commented, and even messaged me things like, "You inspire me so much," or "I wish I had your discipline." I'd reply with a smile emoji and some generic advice like, just stay consistent. But I never told them the truth. The truth was this: behind that motivational post was a guy sitting in a cafe pretending to work because I didn't have Wi Fi at home. That beach photo, it was taken months ago on a borrowed phone during a weekend escape. And I posted it while crying in my room after a client ghosted me. The filter made it golden. The moment itself was gray. For a long time, I felt like I was playing two roles: the successful, high performing online version of me, and the real me, who was lost, broke, and scared most nights. And somewhere in between those two versions, I stopped recognizing who I actually was. It's easy to get addicted to the performance, because once you start getting praise for the image, you fear the silence that might come if you show the reality. And in a world where likes feel like validation, showing weakness feels like failure. But something happened. Something small, almost invisible, that made everything unravel. And once it did, I realized I wasn't fooling the world. I was only fooling myself. This is the real story, the one I never posted. The truth behind the feed, the truth about the pressure to look successful, the fear of being average, and the painful beauty of choosing reality over illusion. I didn't plan on becoming a fake version of myself. It started small. A photo of a borrowed book on productivity with a caption like, "New habits, ye are new results." It got 87 likes, which at the time felt like a digital standing ovation. A few people commented asking what I was working on, and I replied confidently, "Just building something big, stay tuned." Truth is, I hadn't built anything yet. I just didn't want to look like I was behind. So I kept going. A friend let me borrow his apartment for a weekend. It had glass windows, a clean desk, and a sleek kitchen. I staged a photo of me sitting at the dining table with my laptop open and a caption that read, "CEO mode activated." That post blew up. People started tagging others, saying, "This is the energy we need." That one post gave me a hit of something I couldn't name at the time. Maybe validation, maybe approval. But I liked it. A lot. So I kept feeding the illusion. I started planning my feed like a marketing campaign. I'd screenshot small payments from freelance gigs and crop out the cents to make it look like I was doing $1,000 plus projects regularly. I took photos with books I hadn't read. I reused the same beach photo from 3 months ago. Just changed the angle, color, and caption. Online, I was glowing. People messaged me saying I was killing it, asking how I stay so consistent. I'd smile at the messages, sometimes even screenshot them to remind myself I was becoming someone. But in reality, my fridge had nothing but tap water and half a packet of toast. My rent was 3 days late, and I was surviving on instant noodles and overdrawn bank accounts. I wasn't living the life I portrayed. I was curating a version of me I wished was real. Even worse, I felt like I had to keep performing to match the version of me people had fallen in love with. If I disappeared from the feed, people might forget me. If I told the truth, they might unfollow. So I convinced myself that one day, the fake version would catch up with the real version. That if I looked successful long enough, eventually I would become it. But deep down, I knew. I wasn't building a brand. I was building a mask. And the longer I wore it, the heavier it became. Until the day everything cracked. The illusion collapsed quietly. No dramatic thunderstorm, no sudden betrayal. Just a message from my landlord. Final reminder: rent overdue. Eviction process begins next week. I stared at it for a long time. That morning, I had just posted a story of me at a cafe, typing away on my laptop with the caption, "7 a.m. hustle. Future millionaires wake up early." Funny thing was, I wasn't even buying the coffee. I'd brought an empty cup from the day before just to blend in and use the free Wi Fi. In that moment, I realized how far gone I was, not in my business, but in my honesty. People thought I was running a six-figure agency. In reality, I hadn't closed a single client in weeks. My last three proposals were ghosted. I hadn't eaten a full meal in 2 days. I was skipping showers to save water and rationing phone data because my home internet had been cut off. I remember sitting on the bathroom floor, fully clothed because the rest of the house felt too hollow. I turned my phone over so I wouldn't see the likes or messages. None of it mattered now. The version of me online had friends, fans, and followers. The version of me offline was invisible. I tried to call a friend once. He'd commented on every one of my posts, calling me inspiring. But when I told him I was struggling and needed to crash at his place for a few days, he said, "Bro, aren't you like killing it right now? I'm honestly surprised you're even calling." That sentence broke something in me. I'd been so good at pretending that no one even believed I could be struggling. My own lie had made me unrelatable, unreachable, even in pain. That night, I opened Instagram again, not to post, just to scroll. I saw other people doing what I had done, posting success quotes, showing wins, hyping up the journey. And I wondered if any of them were sitting on the floor like I was, afraid to admit that behind every grind was a pile of unpaid bills. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I opened my feed and looked at my last 50 posts. Every single one was a carefully staged moment of success, filtered and reworded to make me look ahead. I started deleting them one by one, not because they were ugly, but because they weren't mine. They belonged to someone I was pretending to be. Deleting those posts felt like deleting pieces of a costume I'd spent years stitching together. Each tap of the remove button hit harder than I expected, not because the posts were special, but because they'd protected me. They were my armor, my illusion of control, my shield against judgment. Without them, I felt exposed, but I also felt lighter. I remember sitting on my mattress. I couldn't even call it a bed anymore. With no Wi Fi, no groceries, and just $17 in my account. For the first time in months, I sat in silence. No noise, no feed, just me, the real version of me. Raw, broke, scared, and incredibly tired. I looked in the mirror that evening and barely recognized myself. Not because I looked physically different, but because my eyes looked empty, like someone who had been running for too long, chasing something they didn't even want anymore. That was the night I made a decision. I was done performing. If I was going to rebuild, I was going to do it with truth, not filters. With progress, not pretend. I opened a blank document and wrote one sentence. This is where I actually am. And then I started typing. Everything. The unpaid bills, the anxiety attacks, the ramen dinners, the lies, the loneliness, the mental health crash that came from trying to look successful while falling apart inside. It wasn't for a post. It wasn't for clout. It was just for me. But something in me knew, if I ever shared this version of the story, it might actually help someone. Not impress them. Help them. 2 days later, I posted something real for the first time. For months, I've tried to look like I was winning online. The truth is, I've been struggling. I'm not embarrassed anymore. I'd rather rebuild from rock bottom honestly than pretend at the top silently. I expected silence. Maybe a few unfollows. Instead, something unexpected happened. People started responding. Not with emojis or empty praise, but with truth. I needed to hear this today. Thank you for being real. I've been feeling the same. You have no idea how much this means to me. That post didn't get the most likes, but it gave me something I hadn't felt in months: connection. And that became my turning point. I didn't bounce back overnight. There was no dramatic glow up, no viral post, no sudden flood of clients. But there was something better: clarity. Now that I wasn't pretending, I didn't have to waste energy managing a fake image. I could focus that energy on actually building something that mattered, something real. The first thing I did was simplify. I took down every motivational post I had shared just to appear inspiring. I archived old projects that never existed. I changed my bio from creative strategist and brand architect to a simple truth, trying to build a small, honest business, sharing the journey. That one line did something unexpected. It made people lean in. The more I shared honestly, the more people related. Not everyone, not the ones who came for aesthetics, but the right people. The ones who said, finally, someone's saying it. I posted about my failed clients. I showed screenshots of my no response emails. I talked about the panic attacks that came with uncertainty. And I celebrated small wins, like finally affording a proper desk chair or getting my first referral from someone who followed me because of my honesty. That's when something shifted. One day I received a DM from a small mental health clinic in another city. We've been following your posts. We like your tone. It's real. We need someone to help us redesign our website. Can we talk? It wasn't a huge gig, $400, but it was the first real project I got without pretending to be more than I was. I gave that client everything I had: clear communication, clean design, simple delivery, and they referred two more clients. Then one of those clients posted a thank you message and tagged me, and not because I asked, but because they wanted to. We worked with my name and loved the process. Support real builders. That's when I knew I was on the right track. Not only was I earning again, but I was earning without selling my soul. No lies, no filters, just effort, clarity, and honesty. I slowly built a system: real processes, real follow ups, real boundaries. I set working hours. I said no to clients who wanted discounts or unrealistic timelines. And even when things got tough again, and they did, I didn't hide. I'd post things like, this month was rough. Two deals fell through. I'm reminding myself that slow progress is still progress. Those posts got fewer likes, but more meaning. People started messaging me for help, not just for websites, but for advice. How do you handle slow months? How do you stay confident when everything feels shaky? I always replied with the same thing: don't fake it, face it. That became my personal motto. My comeback wasn't flashy, but it was freeing. I no longer had to lie to impress strangers. And for the first time since I started, I felt proud. Not of what I posted, but of what I endured, of what I rebuilt. Not for the feed, not for the applause, just for me. It's been over a year since I stopped performing for the feed. I no longer post every project I'm working on. I don't write captions to impress. I don't decorate struggle to make it look poetic. Some days I post nothing at all, and not because I'm hiding, but because I'm living. The truth is, I'm still building. I'm not rich, I'm not famous, but I'm real. And for me, that's the win I never knew I needed. Because now, when I show up online, I show up as a person, not a product. I've realized something about social media. It rewards perfection, but connects through truth. And if you're always chasing validation, you'll never find peace. I used to believe that success was about looking ahead of everyone else. Now I believe success is about being aligned with yourself, even if nobody's clapping yet. That means being honest about what stage you're in, creating at your own pace, accepting slow months without shame, saying, I don't know yet, and not feeling like a fraud because fake confidence will get you followers. But real vulnerability builds community, and community is what saves you when likes disappear. I still remember that version of me, the one who posted fake wins from a borrowed cafe, terrified that the truth would make me unlovable. But today, I know this: the truth never ruins your story, it just gives it depth. You don't need to pretend to matter, you already do. Living honestly will always be harder, but it will also be lighter. So if you're out there right now, scrolling through highlight reels while quietly panicking about your own life, just breathe. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're not a failure because your feed doesn't look like someone else's fantasy. You're just building something real. And real takes time. Post if you want to, don't if you don't, but promise yourself this: never perform who you're not just to be seen. Because the right people will see you when you see you. No filters, no pretending, just progress. And that's more than enough.